Donald Trump is telling the American people that the current financial system is decades out of date, that we need something new to bring us into the 21st century. And that something new is cryptocurrency. Could XRP be the token of choice for the US government? Because right now, Scott Bessent just came out and said it's not going to be Bitcoin, that the US is not going to be buying any new Bitcoin anytime soon. You have to hear all of the stuff that's going on, guys. I'm going to break it all down for you, give you every little bit of context that you need to know so you can understand this properly. Let's go ahead and start here with Donald Trump here at the podium.
Many Americans are unaware that behind the scenes, the technical backbone of the financial system is decades out of date, many, many years out of date. You know that. Paul and others are straightening it out, but payments and money transfers are costly and take days or even weeks to clear. Under this bill, the entire ancient system will be eligible for a 21st century upgrade using the state-of-the-art crypto technology. Who would have thought we would have been saying that 2 years after?
Listen, they believe that cryptocurrency is going to be key in updating our current financial system, something that we've been talking about on this channel for years. It's just shocking to hear the President of the United States come out and say something that we have known for so long. But when he actually says this now, I mean, that is the word, right? His word is gold, isn't it? So you have to start to think, what is the US government going to do to upgrade its financial system, right? Its infrastructure using crypto, right? Because that's what I'm thinking. And like everything is racing in my head right now. So let's get through this. I'll give you some of the other things that I'm thinking about, but let me just shut this up for you.
This could be perhaps the greatest revolution in financial technology since the birth of the internet itself. A lot of people are saying that. I don't know. What do you guys think? Yes? If you say yes, I'm saying yes.
All right. So now here is Scott Bessent. He's admitted two things in this video. One is the US government isn't going to look to revalue gold at this time. Sorry to all of the people that thought that was going to happen, as well as the US is not looking to buy any new Bitcoin. This was a shocking admission. Let me play this for you.
You're talking about a number way above 750 billion. What's the story on gold?
You know, we've got the large gold holding. I doubt we're going to revalue it, but we are going to keep it there, again, as a store of value for the American people. We've also started to get into the 21st century, a Bitcoin strategic reserve. We're not going to be buying that, but we are going to use confiscated assets and continue to build that up. We're going to stop selling that. You know, I believe that Bitcoin reserve at today's prices is somewhere between 15 and 20 billion. A Bitcoin strategic reserve. We're not going to be buying that, but we are going to.
We're not going to be buying that, right? And this is a sharp U-turn from some of the information that the Trump administration has put out on this exact subject. Look at this. March 6th. This is an actual announcement from the White House. This is on their website. And it says the order creates a strategic reserve that will treat Bitcoin as a reserve asset. The strategic Bitcoin reserve will be capitalized with Bitcoin owned by the Department of Treasury that was forfeited as part of a criminal or civil asset forfeiture proceedings. Other agencies will evaluate their legal authority to transfer any Bitcoin owned by those agencies to the strategic Bitcoin reserve. The Secretary of Treasury and Commerce, who's Scott Bessent, the gentleman that you just saw, this gentleman here, has authorized to develop a budget neutral strategies for acquiring additional Bitcoin, right? So they told us before that they were trying to acquire additional Bitcoin by developing neutral strategies, right? No incremental cost for American taxpayers. The government will not acquire additional assets for digital asset stockpile, right? So a lot of people that own Bitcoin thought that the US government was going to puff up their bags, right? This has been the message for months. People like Bo Hines, right? David Sachs, right? Where are these people now? Now, there is some people obviously frustrated and not very happy today with all of this shift in policy from 1 minute being bullish on the crypto space to the next minute saying that we're not going to be supporting, buying additional assets. Now, Jacob King is somebody that I wanted to just read this to you. Earlier today, the US Treasury Secretary finally admitted the obvious. The US will not be buying any Bitcoin, killing months of rumors. Exactly, he says, exactly as I predicted, the government strung the naive Bitcoiners along with fake narrative about building a strategic reserve. In reality, it was nothing more than holding pen for seized Bitcoin. something that's been existed for over a decade, no new policy, no strategic move. The real purpose was so obvious: to juice prices for insiders. Bo Hines, sitting on millions in Bitcoin, abruptly resigned under the weight of the glaring conflicts of interest. David Sachs claimed to have dumped all his crypto, yet his venture found conveniently retained stakes in the very tokens the admin was pushing. And Donald Trump Jr. via World Liberty Financial concerned the bulk of the crypto reserve streams and token supply, pocketing well over $100 million. This wasn't governance, it was a state-sanctioned market rigging, dressing up cash grab for political cronies as national policy and leaving the public holding the bag while insiders laughed all the way to the bank. Now, if you're wondering here, just to give you some additional information, Donald Trump has more than double his personal net wealth in 2025. He was basically going from about 2.3 to 3 billion to now being worth 5 to $7 billion mid-year. So he's had a very good year. Most of this stuff is his personal company, Truth Media and Social, but also he's made a lot of money with his meme coin and cryptocurrencies ventures. So there obviously is some stuff here that people are not quite happy with. We'll see what the administration does to maybe remedy this. But remember the tweets from Trump, very early on in his administration was talking about supporting American innovation. Now we know for a fact the US isn't interested in buying Bitcoin. So what is the US going to do? How are they going to upgrade their financial systems? Right? Is that just the Genius Act and the Clarity Act, but are they going to actively use cryptocurrency to benefit them? Let me just go through this. The chances of the US government moving to XRP as the backbone for updating the financial system has materially increased in 2025, but there is yet to be any formal commitment to make XRP the default for federal infrastructure. Instead, the current White House policy and legislative developments now explicitly support pilot programs, regulatory clarity, and intensified integration with XRP within the banking sector, federal payments, and cross-border transactions. It does talk about, the SEC settled the SEC lawsuit or the Ripple lawsuit. White House and Treasury pilots. White House policy reports and proposals now recommend fast-tracking XRP for federal payment pilots. This is something new and interesting, such as Social Security, IRS, or tax refunds. Listen, if you use XRP for anything in the government, it would be all done but the shouting, right? It wouldn't even take a whole lot, but just the mention of, Ripple or XRP and the United States government, some type of system, think about how much money could be saved, how much quicker refunds and things like that could get into the hands of people. The reason this is important is if you're, the IRS collects about $5 trillion a year in taxes. And a lot of people sometimes overpay and those refunds get sent back out. Now, sometimes those refunds can take a long time, right? You're getting a check in the mail. Sometimes it's directly deposited, but it can take some time. Imagine if you could use something like XRP and have it instantaneously sent or deposited anywhere in the United States. That would help people take that money and start using it again, either for investing or supporting their life somehow, right? What do you do with your tax refund? You probably find something cool to spend it on, whether it's a trip or whether it's investing or whether it's just upgrading some things in the house or spending it on your kids or your loved ones, whatever it is, you can use that money to do more things. And so if you can get that money faster, that can have extreme benefits. Federal digitization mandate. President Trump's March 2025 executive order requires nearly all federal payments and receipts to be processed electronically by September 30th, 2025. This is another date I'll be looking for, but does not specify XRP exclusively. It encourages using private sector payment rails, ACH, FedNow, digital wallets, opening the door to further RippleNet and XRP adoption if it proves to be superior for interbank cross-border transactions. And we already know it is superior for interbank or cross-border transactions. That is what you should be using, right? You could use stable coins, but you still need some type of bridge asset, especially if you're going in and out of multiple currencies. Banking sector adoption. Major US banks are already integrating XRP for international payments and liquidity driven on Ripple's on-demand liquidity and RippleNet's platforms. This is anticipated to accelerate as regulatory uncertainty lifts and Ripple secures its US banking license. So there's a lot of things to look out for. Obviously, we're paying attention to spot ETFs and that money that could come into the XRP space. We should get some updates in October about that. If anything happens before then, I will bring you all of the complete updates on this channel. I did want to show you that Donald Trump's sons have been making the rounds on Fox News, and you know, there are people like actively trying to get Eric Trump's attention to talk about XRP. I don't know if Eric Trump cares about it. I know he cares about Ethereum. I know he cares about Bitcoin.
I have just built a course for beginners, intermediaries, and experts of XRP to better understand the XRP ledger and Ripple, the company. If you're interested in getting that course absolutely free, there's a link down in the description. Please let me know what you think after you've taken the course. Aloha.
Let me play this for you.
Crypto is the fastest growing industry worldwide by far, bar none. Everybody in the world, if you look at the Middle East, if you look at all of Asia, if you look at all of South America, they're all running toward cryptocurrency. I mean, we have a financial system, Brian, that's broken. If you want to send a wire at 4:59 on a Friday afternoon, somebody's not going to get it until, midday Monday. How is our banking system, 9 to 5, Monday through Friday, doesn't make any sense whatsoever? If you want to go get a loan, you want to go buy a house, the bank that you've banked with for 25 years will take 120 days to go through a know your customer report to give you your own money, to be able to borrow against your own. Our banking system is broken. And then that same banking system has gone after 50% of the Americans because they decided to wear a hat that says Make America Great Again. We have to change the financial system. We will change the financial system. World Liberty is going to change the financial system. And honestly, I could not be more proud. And we started this company long before my father was elected, long before he won the election, certainly long before he actually got into politics again.
All right, there you have it. You do have Trump's sons out here saying that Republicans are being debanked because of their belief in MAGA, or what is the word I'm looking for? I don't even know what I don't know what he's saying, man. I know that there's been some issues with like Brad Garlinghouse being debanked for crypto, and there was this whole choke point 2.0, but debanking 50% of the population doesn't sound like something that's actually happened. I think we're just kind of maybe being, I don't know, what are you saying, man? 50% of the population? Listen, Brian Moynihan was asked about this last Sunday, I believe, when he was interviewed. And he's saying that the only reason that they would deny loans to anybody is if they didn't have the credit to get those loans. But Bank of America, they basically said that they haven't done any of this debanking stuff. I'll leave that up to you, what you believe or you think, but just understand it's not as bad as he's making it to sound, but it is a real problem. And banks do need to have their infrastructure upgraded, and this is kind of a mess. I don't even know. We're just gonna end it there. I hope you got value. Bye.